Today in the web or in React Native, you have to set, oh, let me do these shadows or let me do these things. But actually we can do things automatically.
Right.
And people today, they don't use these kind of interfaces so much because it's so slow.
What is the difference between Redraw and Skia? And where does Redraw fill the gaps of Skia? And then maybe where do they work in combination?
Skia is really made, it's a library that was made to run like web graphics. So text layouts, like really scaling, like high performance graphics. And Redraw is more like for these crazy effects, which don't even exist on the web. So variable stroke, color along the path.
Yeah.
You know, I think my obsession was always the Apple presentations where they use crazy enterprise software to build the crazy graphics. And now with like web GPU and so on, maybe we can do this to do like in React Native or the web.
Yeah.
So it's really, Skia is really great for like super scalable graphics. And then if you want that extra effect on top, then you use Redraw.
And you mentioned that Redraw was like things that you can't even do on the web.
Yeah.
But Redraw, does it support web?
Because it's web GPU, and web GPU works on web native.
Right.
So you know web GPU, it's a JavaScript standard, but it's also a C++, so that it runs everywhere, so it's perfect.
Okay. What kind of real world applications do you expect to see with Redraw? If like, do you have any like idea of like, maybe it's like how people will actually use them in your app? Have you saw some cool like examples of how people are building it?
Yeah. I think there are two use cases. So there is like non-real-time use cases where you can do these crazy Apple graphics presentations. Today they are done using crazy software like Cinema 4D and so on.
Yeah.
So that's one part, the non-real-time. And for the real-time, I really think it's about like the, you know how people, they do neuromorphism and designs like with shadows and so on, but to do it procedurally. So do it automatically, you know, like how people do with 3D scenes. They say, oh, this material is metal, and it's just metal. And today in the web or in React Native, you have to set, oh, let me do these shadows or let me do these things. But actually we can do things automatically.
Right.
And people today, they don't use these kind of interfaces so much because it's so slow. If you use shadows, inner shadows, because it's done through rasterization. But here, because we do it like using vector information, it's fast enough. I think for user interfaces, it might like spark.
New kinds of like interfaces which are going to be built from this library as a foundation. This is a PDR which you're talking about, right? Physics-based rendering,
Yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. Describe a scene with lights and you say, this is a material which has these properties. So it means the light is going to reflect somewhere, and this is what creates these shadows and so on. And it's automatic. You know, if you go in Figma, you have to do it manually.
And to clarify, physics-based rendering is something that Redraw supports.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We provide the geometric information so you can like apply like any kinds of formulas you want and so on, And it's cool because it's like based on physics, but then you can break the rules of physics and do like some cool stuff and so on.
You guys also with React Native Skia also did a collab with React Native Vision Camera, right? Recently.
Yeah, with web GPU. It's cool because with Mark a long time ago, we came up with like a way where we can integrate without statically linking against each other. This was way before web GPU. And then when web GPU came in, it just worked, you know? And this was really cool. So there is this part. And then there is, so for web GPU, we use implementation from Google, which is called Dawn, and they do a lot of heavy lifting for us also. Some of the stuff we get for free is completely insane.
And what is this integration with Vision Camera? For like someone who doesn't know so much about Skia or Vision Camera, what does bringing Skia and Vision Camera do?
Like, let's say 3 things. So, you know, apply like effects, like color effects and filters and so on. So the classical.
Face filter type of things.
Exactly. So then also to combine it with machine learning. So like face detection. I saw a demo where they move with the hand. You do the hand detection so you can move a page or just with the camera. And then the third one is really to integrate into 3D scenes.
AR type.
Exactly. Yeah. And you use like the camera light, it reflects on the 3D object and stuff like this.
You're well known in the community for solving hard problems. What's the next hard problem to solve in all of this?
That's a good question. I'm not sure right now, you know, because I showed like Redraw, which is new. Like my focus right now is going to be to make it fast and stable and make it work very well. See if it helps people solving their problems. But right now, I'm not looking yet on the next thing. I'm really like...
Yeah, the hard problem's already been like, you've put it out and you want to see how it kind of works in the world.
Exactly. And it's always a cycle where you come up with something new, and then you make it good, and then maybe you look at the, you know, we did this with Web GPU, and then we make it good, and then we did Redraw, it's a new thing, and right now it's going to be about like making it good, and then after maybe we look at something new.
You need to establish what you've built, and because you've just cracked a hard problem with Redraw, which is like this physics-based rendering and this change on a path animation type of things, you know?
Because if not, you only build proof of concepts and then that's it.